Symbolism of GTA Cover Girls by Angelica Tosh. Okay, sounds interesting. Hey, did you see the new cover girl? Ooh, she is gorgeous. But I can't believe people still complaining. There are people out there that are complaining about the cover girl for GTA 6. Unbelievable. Ungrateful. Anyway, like, subscribe. Okay, let's watch this video.
Recently, Rockstar Games unveiled their latest cover girl for the upcoming and long-awaited GTA 6. This is actually a rather significant update if you have been following the series and you know what an integral part of every single game's identity is made up by their most recognizable cover girl. A tradition that started with GTA 3, these cover girls have become a staple when it comes to an individual GTA game's branding and aesthetic focus. But these girls, despite being super attractive and memorable for their looks, are more than just eye candy. Today, I want to talk a bit about their overall deeper meaning, what they represent, and why, despite my personal worries and doubts when it comes to any future games, I really like the latest cover girl and think that she is a faint sign of promise for GTA 6. Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelica, and if any of you are living in the
Hello,
UK or
Angelica.
Ireland, then you know that we are in the middle of a massive heat wave. So if you're seeing this video, then that means I didn't melt by the end of it. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the first game to include a cover girl was GTA 3. From there, it became tradition and one of the defining features for the overall atmosphere in any given GTA game. But despite them being such an iconic and memorable part of the franchise, their importance or role in-game is quite minimal, or it varies a lot. For example, the first girl, Misty, is a minor character in the game and not one that you have to do a lot of digging to find. However, most of the others are far more elusive and mysterious, and many players have taken it upon themselves to try and find the various cover girls in their game, a task that can take quite a bit of digging and detective work, and in some cases still leave you with uncertainty. And with that, one of the most important things to note about these girls is that who they are in-game does not actually matter that much. It's an interesting thing to explore, and for some of them it actually feels more like an Easter egg with just how little significance they have to any plot or even minor side to the story. The reason that I think they don't make up any major part of the story is that individually, they are far bigger and represent so much more than any one character in-game could properly convey. They are each a symbol of their games, representing the geographical location, the economic situation, their generation, and of course, an idealized beauty standard that fits that gangster and crime fantasy. It isn't always the classical type of beauty or one that necessarily directly fits with every mainstream beauty standard at the time of any given game, but it is specific to this kind of genre. You look at some of America's biggest and most famous gangster movies, and traditionally they do feature very beautiful and glamorous women that make up a part of this fantasy.
Oh yeah, I remember.
The cover girls looks like whatever the protagonist of any given GTA game would themselves find beautiful and desirable, and what would actually be within their reach given their lifestyle. In their minds, it is the ideal, and it's one that seemingly doesn't even match reality 100%, as when players had actually located some of these girls in games, they don't exactly look like the girls on the cover. Of course, that is down to graphical limitations partially, but there is also room to interpret that just like many other things that are idealized and fantasized about in the gangster and crime world, not all that glitters is gold. A lot about this kind of lifestyle has been glorified and romanticized, particularly in Hollywood, and since the games have historically been this satirical commentary on the gangster or criminal life in America, these kinds of exaggerations fit perfectly into the narrative. It is also interesting that these girls are one of the first things that you see before you actually get into the game, which sets a certain expectation when it comes to the sort of glamour you might be in for. You go into the game with a promise of the kind of rewards that you might reap as part of this particular fantasy. And of course it amplifies the satire when you see the girls in-game and they do not look like their cover version. Like I've already said, they are more than just pretty faces. Each of the girls give us visual context about the setting of their game. To discuss some of my favorites, let's take the Vice City girl first. And she is actually one of
Oh man, she's a classic, bro. But I gotta say San Andreas is the best cover girl.
Two twins that appear in-game, not as major characters, but they are there. The in-game appearance may be less important, but this girl is like if you took a Miami nightlife mood board and put it all into one woman. The glamorous hair and makeup, the white swimsuit on tanned skin, the drink in her hand. It screams luxury, Miami nightclub, living the high life with your gangster money surrounded by actual models. She's mysterious with her hair covering half of her face, which works really well with some of the game's unresolved mysteries on the backdrop of the neon lights in Vice City. The GTA 4 cover girl tells a different story. This is clearly coming from Liberty City's less advantaged economic background, something that you would experience as a newly arrived immigrant in the United States, which is what you are in-game. She's a little disheveled, but as glamorous as her own opportunities will allow, probably putting what little funds she has into her appearance. Makeup, lashes, nails. She is, of course, a lady of the night, which does mean that that is part of her job to keep up a certain appearance, and she is a symbol of the wider struggle and the lengths that one must go to survive in this city. The lollipop is a nice touch to add to the literal meaning of eye candy, and despite her job, it makes her look even more carefree and unassuming. Like I've said, I personally interpret these particular looks as being through the eyes of the male protagonists. So in front of him, or at least as part of the fantasy, she does appear as this kind of chill and maybe even sweet part of the city life, even if her reality and the overall thing that she represents for Liberty City is much darker. The San Andreas girl looks like she is straight out of a rap music video from the early 2000s, which does hint to the popular culture on the West Coast from that era, and certainly feels like it would resonate with CJ and his friends from his generation. The GTA 5 girl then, again, totally different picture. It is one of privilege, vanity, and an expensive lifestyle on the West Coast. From the hint of the darker roots, she doesn't appear to be a natural blonde, but she is one that can afford to keep up this perfect hair color. Which, if you don't know, costs a lot of money. I could never be blonde, it's just too much upkeep. Her makeup is glamorous and very in line with the makeup trends of the time. The dark around the eyes and the new...
Oh, okay. But there was a story that said that this lady was Lindsay Lohan. There was like a law dispute about that, but I don't see it, man. She kind of looks like her. But ooh, beautiful.
Nude lips. It's very different to bright red lipstick that, when worn casually like it was in the GTA 4 cover art, can appear a bit vulgar or like it's too much. She wears the iconic red swimsuit and a ton of jewelry, which probably suggests that she's not actually there to swim. It's all about appearances. The iPhone and the selfie makes it seem like she might be some famous person, which she probably is, as she does appear on a poster in Jimmy's room as well. This overall points to a place where the ultimate fantasy is getting the chance to hang out with these famous people. This is that LA kind of beauty, what we would probably now call an influencer potentially. A high, expensive life, and although we have 3 main protagonists in GTA 5 from different backgrounds and likely with different views or preferences when it comes to women, the overall culture around these famous people in Los Santos makes this the most obvious choice for a cover girl mascot. When you look into any of these and analyze them closely, you really see that through these women, the overall vibe and the setting of the games is masterfully communicated. And a lot of these are also open to your own interpretations based on clues that you might come across in-game, but the initial look into each and every one of them already gives enough information to understand a bit about the world through the protagonist's eyes. Each girl is carefully designed to embody the setting and the beauty standard that is, to the protagonist, probably the closest and most attainable. And then we come to the latest girl that was revealed for GTA 6, and she is very interesting. We're back in Vice City, but unlike this girl here, we get a very different kind of beauty standard. long,
Yeah.
natural hair, which I think is probably one of those
Afro-Latina.
things that points to Gen Z and how there is more of a tendency nowadays with that generation to not straighten naturally curly hair. The gold jewelry, the sunglasses, white swimsuit, and cropped tee give her a kind of easygoing look, but at the same time, she also gives me the vibes of someone who comes from money. She has that confident, possibly self-made influencer with a flat in Miami kind of look. She's very similar to Lucia, one of the game's protagonists, which makes a lot of sense if we do approach this from the angle of the beauty standard in the eyes of the protagonist. And for that reason, I really like her. If I can be honest with you guys, I actually didn't think that we would get a cover girl this time. I just thought they'd put Lucia there with that gold dress that we saw in the trailer, which is still cool, but it kind of breaks away from that tradition of adding these more mysterious and less important figures in the story as the cover girls. I really enjoy that they weren't afraid to be bold with it while sticking with the whole theme of having the girl represent the place that the game is going to be set in. The white swimsuit with that green and pink from the cropped shirt is a color scheme that I think harmonizes with the sea and sunsets or even the lights in Vice City. Like, to me, I saw her and she just immediately made sense for the setting that she's in. I'm going to continue to be skeptical because I think that it's better to be pleasantly surprised rather than go into the game with high expectations and then be disappointed. But this to me in particular was something positive because as a female gamer, I find it so annoying that in a lot of these modern games, they tend to kind of minimize or tone down the appearance of female characters to make them more acceptable. It's especially annoying when sex appeal is directly related to the story or the identity of a game or a character, and this isn't to say that every female character needs to have, huge assets and be like a supermodel tier design, but when beauty or attractiveness is crucial to the theme or it's part of the commentary, I find it more offensive that this part of character design is just shut down because it's considered to be too much. It especially feels like a step backwards when we cannot explore this in mature games meant for a mature audience. A ridiculous example of this was how the statues were covered up in the Oblivion remaster. Like, would you go to a museum and put a jacket on a statue of Venus because you think that it's too revealing? It's nice to see that the torch has been passed to what looks like an instant icon. I think that her design with this particular color scheme is very memorable, and I look forward to learning more about her and what she represents after I've had the chance to actually play the game. If they're staying true to their traditions, then she should probably look a little worse in-game, but they could also go the opposite way and have her live up to the expectations, and that could be part of that female perspective that we're now getting in the game with a female protagonist. I mean, the graphics nowadays would certainly allow for it. Overall, the Grand Theft Auto series has many interesting and complex themes that can be explored through the game's official artwork, and the crown jewel of each of the games has always been the main cover girl. They aren't just random hot girls on a magazine cover. They are carefully crafted, intentional symbols of the game's era, location, and the fantasies of the protagonists, as well as an element that amplifies that satirical and exaggerated nature of the game's commentary on American organized crime culture. A glamorous shell that holds a darker and much more cynical reality of that culture. Perfect icons that exist in the imagination of aspiring criminals, and often victims of their circumstances. In some ways, an almost tragic kind of beauty. But that's about it for my thoughts on these cover girl icons from GTA, as well as the newest cover girl. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. As always, huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much.
Yo, W video. Yeah. Angelica Tosh. Okay. Nah, W video lady. So what do you think? Who's your best cover girl? Like I said, San Andreas, yeah, that cover girl, man. The nostalgia, bro. Yeah, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. New videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And I'll try and live stream now and again. Thank you for watching. Bye.